In the studio in Cape Town with me is Rashaad Tayob, who is from Abax Investments, portfolio manager there. You had a brief to come in and talk about what happened on Sunday, Rashaad, but now something's happened on Monday. They spent all night, sort of 15, 16 hours, in fact, negotiating, and suddenly there is a unanimous agreement, whether it's an agreement that will carry on, whether the Greeks can be trusted, because Wolfgang Schäuble said he couldn't trust them. He said it very blatantly. What is your impression of what's happened?
Yeah, I mean, after a record session by the Eurogroup, they reached an agreement, but it seems to me like it's the type of agreement you come to someone while holding a gun to their head. You know, you can get them to agree with you, but it doesn't mean they've changed their mind. And I think what's critical, the critical next step is what happens on Wednesday, and whether the Greek Parliament is actually able to put through these reforms, put through these, go past these red lines. So they won the election as a left-wing government on negating austerity, but yet they've now agreed to push through with austerity, push through with IMF supervision, which they were dead set against, push through with VAT hikes and spending cuts, and also this new 50 billion euro privatization fund.
Right.
So it'll be very interesting if they could get through this without some sort of revolt.
Is there a meaningful extra austerity clause in what has been apparently agreed over the last few hours to the one that the Greek Parliament actually voted in favour of just a couple of days ago when Mr. Tsipras put it to them? I mean, there was a big majority.
Yeah. I think the two big things that have pushed them further is the IMF involvement and this privatization fund of 50 billion, which is really thrown in by the Germans and everyone was taken by surprise over the weekend. The factor that's going to help them try and push it through is this talk of debt restructuring. Now, both Prime Minister Tsipras and Merkel mentioned debt restructuring, but there were no real details on it. And I think Tsipras is going to go to Athens and is going to try and convince them that there is going to be significant debt restructuring, because this agreement is going to succeed or fail on the basis of making Greece's debt sustainable. If they do make it sustainable, Greece can have a recovery going forward. If we don't, this issue is going to drag on for many years forward.
The asset fund plan is 37.5 billion euros for debt payback and 12.5 billion for growth initiatives. It does seem a sort of, I suppose, after 6 months of Syriza being in power, it's almost 6 months since they were voted in. It's been a lot of toing and froing, and the game of chicken has gone on and on. I think there's been 7 or 8 different ultimatums given to Greece. Finally, we've got it. But as you say, it's not a done deal yet. What was quite interesting over the weekend was the way that the trust element came in. And that was, I think that was quite personal, the way that particularly the German finance minister, in his own inimitable way, said, "We can't trust you." That's essentially what he says. And Mr. Varoufakis, he's coming out in the German magazine Die Zeit on Thursday with his own interpretation as what's gone on. And apparently, in a leaked sort of transmission, or rather transcript of that, he says that all along, Wolfgang Schäuble has said that there is going to be no deal, and we want to send a shot across the bows of other European countries, also France. So there's a few little twists to come, I think.
Yes. I think what's happened over the weekend just cements what Varoufakis was warning. I mean, Germany is in a difficult position. If they allow Greece to stay in the Eurozone, as well as get a debt write-off, it then opens the door for other highly indebted countries like Spain, Portugal, Italy, who now see the opportunity. So they were very much for a hard line. Maybe debt restructuring, but if you do get that, you're out of it. Only happens outside the Eurozone. Can't happen within the Eurozone.
Rashaad, good analysis. Thanks very much for popping in briefly this lunchtime. That's Rashaad Tayob from Abax Investments.